The hidden cost of innovation is never shown in glossy pharmaceutical brochures or neat scientific journals. I learned that the hard way when I saw a flyer promising quick cash, free meal, and the chance to contribute to medical progress. It sounded almost noble what harm could come from being part of an experimental drug trial. I signed up, imagining routine checkups, and maybe some harmless nausea. The facility was sterile, white, and humming with fluorescent lights that flickered just enough to unnerve me. There were other volunteers, all different ages, sitting in silence, scrolling through their phones as if pretending we weren't about to gamble our lives. The first night was fine, boring even, but the morning dose tasted metallic, almost like licking a battery. The nurse smiled as though nothing was wrong, but as the pill slid down my throat, I felt a cold bloom in my chest, like ice spreading through veins that should have been warm. That evening, when I glanced at the mirror in the bathroom, my reflection didn't quite match me. It blinked too slowly, and when I turned away, I swear it kept looking forward for a fraction of a second longer. They told me hallucinations were expected, but I knew what I saw, and from that moment, I knew I was no longer in control. On the second day of the experimental drug trial, dread replaced curiosity. The doctors called them side effects, but nothing about them was clinical. My skin prickled as though thousands of invisible ants burrowed beneath it. At night, I woke to a sound I will never forget scratching from inside my ribs, like claws raking at the cage of my bones. Each inhale felt shared, like someone else was breathing with me, through me. Shadows began to pool in the corners of the sterile white walls, refusing to move even when the lights flickered. The others started acting strangely. One man chewed his nails until his fingers bled, smiling with a mouth too wide. A woman whispered to someone in the corner, except no one was there. When I asked about it, she looked at me with pupils so dilated they nearly swallowed her irises and said, "You'll see him soon, too." My food tasted like ash, and my tongue felt swollen, heavy, as if it didn't belong in my mouth. Nurses avoided answering my questions. Once, I overheard them speaking in hushed tones about containment protocols and transfer readiness. Their words weren't about healing. They were about control, about what came after we stopped being human. The hidden cost of innovation was becoming clearer, and it was written in blood, fear, and silence. By the third night, I wasn't sure if I was awake or trapped in some drug-induced nightmare. I saw the figure for the first time sitting on the edge of my bed like it had always belonged there. Its skin was thin, gray, stretched too tightly, and its face had no features except for hollows where eyes should have been. When it leaned close, I felt its cold breath seep into my mouth, my throat, my lungs. My heart stopped, not in a metaphorical way, but literally. The monitor beside my bed flatlined for 2 full seconds before a nurse rushed in, pressing something sharp into my arm. They revived me, but their faces weren't filled with relief. They looked almost disappointed. That was when I realized we weren't patients. We were vessels. Test subjects, not for curing disease, but for something much darker. During the day, I tried to talk to the others, but they avoided me. Their eyes darted, their voices to calm. One Eben sighed. "It doesn't hurt if you stop resisting." And when she smiled, her teeth weren't aligned right, as though the thing inside her didn't know how to arrange a human mouth properly. The air grew thicker, like it was trying to suffocate me slowly. I began scratching my own arms, desperate to feel something real. And every time I caught my reflection, it was further behind, delayed, smiling when I wasn't. The hidden cost of innovation had already claimed them, and I was next. On the final morning, they called me into a cold, empty room. A single chair, a metal table, and a mirror slid toward me. The doctor across the table didn't ask questions. He only told me to take a look. When I leaned forward, I didn't see myself. I saw it, the faceless figure, sitting where I sat, moving when I moved, except its grin stretched wider, hungrier. My body felt heavy, like I was sinking into water, and the reflection seemed to rise in my place. The doctor nodded, as though this was the outcome they'd been waiting for all along. The truth hit me like ice. They weren't running a trial to test a drug. The drug was the key, the invitation. The open door. They were making room for something else to wear us like suits. When they released the other volunteers, they walked too stiffly, their smiles too precise, like puppets with tangled strings. They weren't being released into the world. They were being distributed. I begged them not to let me out, but they smiled, stamped my papers, and told me, "You're ready." That night, when I tried to sleep at home, I felt it again, the weight on my chest, the breath that wasn't mine, and when I woke up, the indents on the bed beside me proved it was real. I had left the facility, but the facility hadn't left me. So no, every time I see a flyer for quick cash and medical advancement, my stomach turns. People think science is clean, noble, sterile, but the hidden cost of innovation is not measured in dollars. It is measured in what you give up without even realizing. Control of your body, your mind, your soul. I was part of an experimental drug trial, and I don't think I ever came back. Maybe you think this is just a story. Maybe you're tempted to laugh it off. But when you look into the mirror tonight, and it lingers a little too long after you turn away, remember my warning. Remember that some reflections are waiting to take your place. If you dare to descend deeper into this nightmare, click here for the next story, one even darker than this one, where the line between life and death is nothing more than a door left slightly ajar. But be careful. Once you open it, you may not be able to close it again.